Hello, today we will talk about the three modes of material nature. These three modes of material nature are, you can see it here, Sattva, Raja and Tama-guna. So the modes of material nature in Sanskrit is called guna, and guna is on one time, in one hand it means quality, the quality, the characteristics. On the other hand, it also means robes. It is mentioned that it also means robes. So these are the three basic energies the material world is consisting of. So similar, we can take like the example of three colors, the three basic colors. I don't know how the English term Grundfarben in German you say. So it's basic colors. This is red, yellow, and blue. So from these three colors, you can derive all other shades of colors. If you mix red and blue, you will get purple. If you mix blue and yellow, you will get green, and so on. So all the shades we see in the world, and there is unlimited shades of colors, they are derived from the three basic colors. Even black is just a mixture of all the colors, and white is an absence of all the three colors. Yeah, at least in terms of mixing. In the terms of light, it is opposite, but anyway. So basically you have these three basic colors and you can paint the whole world with it. So this is the same principles with these three modes of material nature, the three gunas. That is the Sattva guna, the mode of goodness, Raja guna, the mode of passion, and Tama-guna, the mode of ignorance. So Sattva-guna is the principle of maintenance, and the deity that rules this energy or rules this aspect of creation is Lord Vishnu. And Rajaguna is the principle of creation, of things are getting new, things are moving forward, things are changing. That is, and the deity that rules this principle of creation or this mode of nature is Lord Brahma. And then Tamaguna, that is the principle of destruction, of degradation, and that is Lord Shiva is ruling this. Shiva, Mahadeva, Shambhu, Shiva is ruling this Tamaguna. So whatever we experience in this world is a certain combination of these three gunas. So every place you're in, every food you eat, every activity you do within the material atmosphere is influenced by these three gunas to a certain degree. So for instance, the Bhagavad Gita explains this in the 14th chapter and also in the 17th. In the other chapters there's also different things. So for instance it's said that the worship of demigods, like you're worshipping Ganesh, Suryadev for different purposes, this is in the Sattva-guna. If you're worshipping demons, let's say you're worshipping Angelina Jolie, I don't know why I come into this, or Brad Pitt, you're putting a poster of Brad Pitt in your room, or let's say the Smashing Pumpkins. I like the Smashing Pumpkins. If you some rock stars poster you put in your room, so that type of worship or that type of adoration, this is in Rajaguna. Yeah, I cannot say they are demons, but I mean it's a worship of people that are not about serving gods, let's say like that. So that will be in Rajaguna. And if you're worshipping ghosts, and you're like in Bali, they're always doing offerings to the banyan trees because many ghosts are living in the banyan trees, or on the crossroads, or they're putting the offerings down on the floor so that the ghosts will not disturb their house. So that type of worship that is worship in Tama-guna. So, and then it is said like different heaven, earth, and hell means if you die, being influenced, if you're living your life influenced by Sattva-guna, and you die, then you will be promoted to the heavenly planets, or to the planets of the sages above the heavens, even like Maharloka, Chandraloka, and so on. If you die being influenced by Rajaguna, mean you live your life in Rajaguna, and you die in Rajaguna, you will again take birth in the earthly planet. But if you die being influenced by the Tama-guna, you will be degraded, you will go to the hellish planet, and will then after that take birth in the animal kingdom. So it is not that if you're human, you have a human form of life, if you're not careful enough, or you're developing bad habits, and you're developing ignorance, and you're not developing yourself in a good way, in a positive way, at least in Rajaguna, or even better Sattva-guna, you will be degraded and you will take birth again as an animal, and that is the Tama-guna. So it is also described that activities that are done in Sattva-guna, they will lead to happiness. Like if you're doing like fasting, you're doing purification, you're eating good food, you're doing healthy food, you're developing, you're studying something that is positive, that will free your mind from fear and bad thoughts. If you're doing something positive, it will lead to happiness. So positive actions, they're on the Sattva-guna, and they will lead to happiness. But things, Rajaguna actions, that are mainly driven by desires, like the desire for wealth, the desire to become famous, so people will look up to you, will worship you, you will have access to more women as a man, or more men as a woman. So this type of activities, they will lead to greed, and they will bind you by the fruit of actions. So if you're like building up a big business, for instance, that needs a lot of Rajaguna. You will have to have so much passion, you have to have so much initiative, you have to so much thing, so much endeavors you have to do to build up a business, and that needs a lot of Rajaguna. So therefore businessmen, they are in Rajaguna. And sorry, just missed the point, because people are walking by and they're looking at me, so I'm getting a bit out of the concept. Sorry for that. But anyway, just bear with me, yeah? So these actions, they will bind you. Means you will be, once you have a business running, you cannot just run away. You will have so many obligations, you will have so many debts with many, and many have a debt to have with you. So you will be bound by the fruits of your actions. You will not be able to just go to India as you like, because you have to maintain the business, you have to take care of your employees, you have to pay the bills of that the business incurs, and you have to see that people will pay the bills with you, and so on. So that if actions in Rajaguna, they will bind you with so many obligations. And if actions in Tama-guna, they will bind you just by madness. You will just become mad, and due to ignorance you will be bound. If actions done in Sattva-guna, they will lead to knowledge, and you will see things as they are. If you are in Rajaguna, it will bind you by greed. You will want to have more. Like you made already $10 million, but you will be bound by greed to have more. You will make a mark. Let's make this 10x and makes $100,000. Like I was yesterday listening, like Grant Cardone. He's a very famous business guru, and he has the principle of 10x your goal. So if you say I want to sell 1,000 units of my product, let's make it 10,000. So after you sell the 1,000, let's make it 10,000. After you make it 10,000, let's make it 100,000. So Rajaguna, it will bind you in a spiral of greed, more and more and more and more. 1 million is not enough. It should be 10 million. And if you have 10 million and you're not making another 20 million next year, you will be morose. So therefore, this is Rajaguna. This will lead to grief and pain. It is passion. In German, it's called Leidenschaft. Leiden means suffering. So it creates pain. So everything done in Rajaguna, it will the main factor is already intense desire to have it, and doing it is actually needs a lot of endeavor, and the result will be, in the end, it will be painful. It will be it will bind you with greed, and it will create, of course, if you can enjoy a lot of money, but that enjoyment again is in Rajaguna, it will lead to pain. Means at least at the time of death you will have to leave all your wealth, and that will be very painful. Whereas, of course, if you have a combination, like you're acting in Rajaguna but you're also cultivating Sattva-guna, then it will be balanced out and you will not feel so much pain. So if you get lost in the greed of a businessman, you will be just, your result will be just pain. But if at the same time you are cultivating also spiritual knowledge, then you will not be illusioned by that. So therefore it is very important to develop Sattva-guna also, though Rajaguna is needed to work in the world and to create something, to maintain something, to build up something, but it has to be balanced. So therefore Sattva-guna has to be developed also. We will go to that in a moment. But if you are in Tama-guna, you will just become lazy, you will just sleep, you will just do useless activities like gaming the whole day, and the result of that will be ignorance. You will become confused about who you are, what you're supposed to do, and you will sleep more, you will not be active, and that is Tama-guna. So for instance, now let's take one thing I like to say is like knowledge in Sattva-guna is, for instance, you see an animal, a squirrel climbing up a tree. Here's a tree, or here's an ant, let's say an ant, there's ants. Ants are here on the tree. So in Sattva-guna, you will see the spiritual soul. You will understand that these are individual consciousness, atmas, that are embodied in this type of form. If you're in Rajaguna, you will think that ants is a different type of living entity than human. Birds are a different living entity than ants. So there are insects, there are animals. The animals are different from the humans are different from the cows are different from the dogs. So there are all different type of species. That is Rajaguna knowledge. But in Sattva-guna, you will see that the body is different, but the life essence is the same. So and in Tama-guna, we will not even think about it. We will be so busy with our own sadness and depression that we not even think about it. So these are different states of mind. So the mind is in different states. Sometimes in Sattva-guna, sometimes in Rajaguna, sometimes in Tama-guna. So also the food we eat is in the different gunas, and accordingly that food will influence our psyche and our understanding of life. So if we eat a lot of meat, that is Tama-guna. And if we drink alcohol, which is a rotten substance, that is Tama-guna. So if we take these substances into us, that means we are cultivating Tama-guna. And the result will be more sleep, more illusion, more madness, and eventually we get degraded. We will go to hell and will be degraded to animal species. So just a short note that in hellish planet, I mean, after death, those human beings who have not led a good life and have not used the human potential for spiritual advancement, they will come to the court of Yamaraj, who is the superintendent of death, and he will decide according to your actions and intentions and so on, will decide what will happen to you. And in case you are like developed a lot of Tama-guna, ignorance, you have and have accumulated a lot of bad karma, that means you will have to be degraded to the animal life, and in order that your consciousness from human being can go into an animal body, which is a very covered consciousness, no, shrunken consciousness, you will have to undergo punishment in hell, so that your consciousness will get shrunken. So that there are hellish planet that is also described in the Vedas, the different hellish planets. And you will have to undergo this punishment in order that your consciousness will be able to fit into a human animal species. So that will happen if you die in Tama-guna. In Rajaguna, you will just take birth again in the human form, and will get the chance again to be active in the world. In Sattva-guna, you will be elevated to higher planets. So, so for instance, also like philosophy in Sattva-guna will be very refined. You will know the difference between spiritual and material. You will know what are the pure processes to advance in spiritual life. In Rajaguna, you will have some sense of what is God, but not complete, no definite, no refined knowledge. It's just, okay, I know something is there that helps me, but you don't know, and you also don't even care so much what it is exactly. So that therefore many, they say the universe, they say, oh, God, or whatever you may call it. So that is like a knowledge in Rajaguna. They have some sense of philosophy, some sense of transcendence, but just a very vague sense. In Sattva-guna, we will get more deep insights and more refined knowledge, and we will really start to see what is there between heaven and hell, and what is there, what is God, and how He actually manages this world, and so on. In Tama-guna, no clue whatsoever, you don't care, you just want to have your food on your table, preferably McDonald's with some beef and some very ugra karma food, which destroys your health, which destroys your mind, and just keeps you bound in madness and illusion. So also, like content on the YouTube, you can also categorize it in the different gunas. So for instance, Sattva guna content is content like this, that speaks about philosophy, that will bring about a deeper understanding of life and God and so on. So that is Sattva guna content. Then Tama-guna content, if you like, there is this tab on the phone, most probably you're watching this on the phone, so if there is this highlights or like hot content, which is, I never look at that, but if you see what is there, it's like stupid pranks, really nonsense stuff that just brain dead people can enjoy. So that content is Tama-guna. And since this is the things that are viral, we can already like conclude in which mode most of the people are. It's the Tama-guna. So those really stupid pranks that I don't know even what it is, that have millions and millions of views, so there you can see that most of the people are in Tama-guna. But like then music videos that are very sexual suggestive, or how you say, like there's a lot of skin and a lot of sensual movements, that is Rajaguna. So therefore people in this world mostly are in Rajaguna and Tamaguna, and Sattva-guna content will get very little views. You will see like astrology videos, the good channels, they will have like 40,000 subscribers and 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 views, which is quite good. So people are there, they are interested in Sattva-guna content. But the big channels that have a lot of like gaming definitely is a mix between Rajaguna and Tama-guna, and they have millions of views, and just nonsensical activities that are not like completely destructive, but they're mostly like a mix between Rajaguna and Tama-guna. They have millions of views, so we can see how the people are mostly influenced by Rajaguna and Tama-guna. Sattva-guna is very much less. So we have in human life, it is definitely advised by the Vedas, and they also to develop Sattva-guna, and that you can do on one hand by your food. So be vegetarian. All type of meat is tamastic. Maybe some meat like chicken is rather also the rajasic, but it is definitely going to the tamastic region. Onion, garlic is very much Rajaguna. It will not help you to develop Sattva-guna. And yeah, so the food is definitely one thing. Then the content you consume, don't consume Tama-guna content, consume Sattva-guna content with your mind. Read books that are sattvic, not rajasic. If you read a novel that is just about thrilling and romance, that is Rajaguna. If you read Vedas, that is Sattva-guna or even above. So in that way you will develop a good character, you will develop happiness, you will develop knowledge, you will understand things as they are, and you will not be bound by greed, you will not be bound by the fruits, the fruits of your actions, yeah, by your karma. You will not be bound by madness and fall into illusion, will become depressed and just sleep the whole day, eat nonsense food and just feel terrible. So the Sattva-guna is definitely the thing to go to choose. And just in the context of the last two videos, we were saying about initiation and diksha. So the thing is that all these three are still material. Even Sattva-guna is still material, and Sattva-guna actually binds you by a sense of happiness, because you start to feel happy in this world. You will feel healthy, you feel your mind feels energized and balanced. So still Sattva-guna is part of this material world, and it will not lead you to a realization of the self. So therefore what we actually need is Shuddha Sattva, is purified goodness. Because the Sattva-guna of this world always have still tinges of Rajaguna and Tama-guna. So also the demigods, the gods in heaven, which are still living entities that are bound within the material world, like Lord Indra, Ganesha and so on. Lord Shiva not, he's different. But all the heavenly inhabitants of the heavenly planets, the angels and so on, they are all in Sattva-guna, but they're still bound by it due to the happiness they experience there. And there's always a tinge of Rajaguna there. They always want to enjoy. So the demigods, the angels, they're very much about material enjoyment, and they really can enjoy it because they're in Sattva-guna. They don't have Tama-guna so much, but still they are bound. So therefore, Sattva-guna is not the end of the story. The end of the story is Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha. I can write it out for you. It's Vishuddha. I think so, like that. Or double H. I don't know. Vishuddha Sattva. Huh? Can see it? Yeah. Vishuddha Sattva. And that one is only happening when you transcend the three modes of material nature through the association with someone who is on Vishuddha Sattva. So a pure spiritual master, he is anchored in Vishuddha Sattva, and the activity there is only pure love. It's bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. So if someone is in Vishuddha Sattva, he is beyond the three modes of material nature, and he is anchored in his constitutional position as a soul, and he has realized his spiritual identity, and has realized his relationship with the Supreme Lord, and he completely is aware of it, and he lives it. So he has pure love for God. He is no more bound by the modes of material nature, and this platform is reachable by the process of diksha, by surrendering to a spiritual master. who is on this platform already. And therefore, it is said the Sattva-guna we need. We need to develop Sattva-guna in order to listen to a spiritual master. If you're meeting a spiritual master and you're in Tama-guna, you will not get any benefit whatsoever. You might get some benefit because he's blessing you whatsoever, but you will not be able to understand what he's saying. Raja-guna also difficult. You will have so many things in your mind, so many desires, so many subconscious things are there that are pulling you here and there and want you to make things in this world. You will not be able to really deeply assimilate the words of the message of the spiritual master and the spiritual part of the Vedas. So therefore we have to develop Sattva-guna in order to listen. And being on the platform of Sattva-guna, then practicing our spiritual practices that under the guidance of a spiritual master, listening from him, then we can slowly come out from the ropes, from the gunas. We said in the beginning, gunas also means ropes, that bind us in the material world, which is Rajas, Tama, and Sattva-guna. And we can come to the platform of Vishuddha Sattva, of purified passion, where we have purified our mind, our intelligence, and all our desires are purified, and they're streamlined with our spiritual identity as a Atma, and we are living in pure alliance with the Super Soul, with Paramatma. Okay, so this is a very long video. I'm sorry for that, but I hope it is clear. So there are three modes of material nature. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we eat, everything we experience, all the places we are in are somehow or other a mix of this material, of these three modes. Rajaguna will lead to greed and bondage. Tamaguna will lead to madness and illusion. Sattva-guna will lead to happiness and freedom. And in order to come completely out of the material world, we need to develop Sattva-guna in order to listen from a spiritual master who is in beyond the three modes of material nature in Vishuddha Sattva, and then we can also come to the supreme destination, that is the spiritual world that is beyond the three modes of material nature. Thank you very much for listening. Check out my other videos on my channel. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell so you will be notified for all the new uploads. Thumbs up please, and any questions, any comments, please put in the comment sections. Have a nice day.